Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kasmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. This afternoon, thousands of ammunitions moved from military to national security go missing, but the defense minister says no cause for alarm.
Thousands of rounds of military ammunition in 2024 from the Ghana Armed Forces to the National Security Outfit. Ammunitions which have since not been accounted for.
We'll hear from him during that government accountability series that he ended some minutes ago. Also, University Teachers Association of Ghana expresses disappointment over lack of tangible action in fight against illegal mining, Galamsey. This afternoon, we engage the National Secretary of UTAC for their concerns. And much later, as Warungu Senior High School in Upper East Region closed over violent student clashes with some students arrested. We'll bring you the latest from there. Very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, the Minister for Defense, Dr. Edward Omane-Boamah, has revealed that thousands of rounds of ammunition moved from the military to the national security in 2024 are unaccounted for. In spite of the troubling development, the minister maintains that Ghana remains secured. He made the disclosure when he took his turn at the government accountability series at the Jubilee House a while ago.
We have kept our nation safe and stable, notwithstanding the irregular transfer of thousands of rounds of military ammunition in 2024 from the Ghana Armed Forces to the National Security Outfit. Ammunitions which have since not been accounted for.
And I had the Defense Minister, Dr. Edward Omane-Boamah. Let's speak now to fraud prevention expert and security consultant Richard Kumado. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Beatrice.
Looking at the proliferation of arms and the situation in the sub-region, shouldn't the government be holding previous government appointees in charge a bit liable?
No, definitely not the entire government, but individuals who supervise the movement of these ammunition, the storage, the retrieval, and how they are distributed. There's a catalog of events, and there's a chain of command and security operational manual, how these things are done due to the delicate nature of them. So there are individuals assigned to these movements at all points of entry and exit. And I think they are the ones that needed to be held accountable, but not the entire government.
We heard the minister say that irrespective of the missing ammunitions, we shouldn't be worried. Should that be the case? No cause for alarm, indeed?
No, definitely we should be worried. If you remember, the Small Arms Commission is struggling. There's gun violence everywhere. There's a lot of arms and ammunition in the system without registration. There are sophisticated weapons in the hands of illegitimate people. The illegal use of guns, and it's leading to crime, and crime is going up. If you remember, when it came to the vetting of the Supreme Court justices, two of them raised the issue that crime cases at the courts are going up. And many of these crime cases are involved with, they are involving arms and sophisticated arms for that matter. So we should be worried. What will alleviate the fear of Ghanaians is when investigations are done and people are held accountable and prosecution take place, then people can see that there's accountability. Other than that, there's everything in there to make people worried about the new developments we are hearing.
Indeed, and Mr. Kumado, I know that for years we've been trying to deal with the proliferation of arms. We've done, stuff where we say exchange your guns for cash and other measures, as it were, but we still not have been able to deal with the problem. What's the issue?
The issue is politics and political accountability. These are politicians who move arms. These are politicians who move ammunition, and they cannot be accountable. When we were doing the handover, at the point when the NPP was handing over to the NDC, all these issues should be addressed. who is responsible for what. And if politicians cannot be accountable and they cannot be held accountable, then you will have problem with this type of democracy. And that is why you have numerous charges and numerous offenses being committed by crime, and nobody is being held accountable because the one prosecuting is also a politician. So if you want this democracy to develop and to become a standard for benchmarking in many of the things we do, you will need to look at the prosecution area or the prosecutorial authority and the team as well. They are made up of politicians, and these are politicians who move arms and possibly give it to their, party boys and girls, and that is why they cannot account for them, or somebody has gone to sell them in the open market or the black market. And that is why when it comes to West Africa, issues about gun smuggling, money laundering, and drugs, they are synonymous and they work together. I think we should be worried. This is a serious issue and people have to be held accountable.
You talk about people who are supposed to hold those accountable being politicians and they being involved themselves. This government hasn't proved that indeed perhaps is able to deal with people that go wrong in its own administration. We've seen the Attorney General name certain individuals involved in Galamsey and other criminal activities.
We are talking about 7 months in government. This thing would have come out at the transition level. Nobody has been held publicly accountable for missing ammunition until today. Nobody has heard about where the ammunitions have gone to and those responsible until today. For many people within the security intelligence community, only few people were aware the movement of these arms, where they landed, and who did what. But to the generality of the Ghanaian population, they are hearing it for the first time. Our mothers and fathers and aunties and uncles will be worried. So if the NDC cannot prosecute those responsible for this, then people are likely to say it is the same script and they are different artists. What alleviates fear is accountability and people being held responsible for their actions. And we are talking about arms and ammunition. So, yeah, some level of investigations. This is a serious one. This should have been the first one.
My last question to you, and that's on a story we're here to do about the violence in Zuarugu Senior High School, which has led to the shutdown of the school. And I know that over the past months, we've spoken about violence in our schools. Moving forward, others think that perhaps we need to make parents of these children who destroy school properties pay for the things they destroy on campuses instead of the government going to do so. What do you think about that in terms of dealing with that?
I agree with you. They are bringing back the PTA. And it will be a responsibility for the PTA. It's a shared responsibility. School authorities, parents, and students, they work within the same environment. Where there's bad behavior and people misconstrue certain things and they take violent action, they have to be held accountable, including payments for many of the things they have destroyed. Of course, they are students and people who want to play leniency. But leniency must also go with accountability and being held responsible. And I think within those spaces, there should be prescriptive, actions against students who misbehave and who want to take the law into their own hands.
Thank you very much for speaking to us, Mr. Kumadu. And you had the fraud prevention expert and security consultant, Richard Kumadu. Now, the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, has rebuked the Mahama administration, accusing it of reneging on its pre-election pledge to combat illegal mining. That's Galamsey. In a strongly worded statement jointly signed by UTAG's National President, Professor Mahmoud A. Akudugu, and National Secretary, Professor Elias Mumuni, the association lamented the government, quote-unquote, lackluster commitment to environmental protection despite mounting devastation caused by Galamsey. It followed an emergency National Executive Council meeting on the 17th of July 2025, which concluded that President Mahama's 6 months in office have yielded modest gains but failed to deliver the concrete actions promised in his 2024 national pledge against illegal and irresponsible mining. The association highlighted 5 critical and fulfilled commitments, and we do have Judith Brown, my colleague, in the studio to bring us those 5 critical points that he made. Judith, what is the association saying? Right, and so they're accusing the president of public denunciation, firstly, and they say that there's no decisive presidential condemnation of Galamsey's environmental harm. We know how much harm that illegal mining has had on the country. Now, their second accusation has to do with the state of emergency. We know calls have been coming in day after day for a state of emergency since the illegal mining menace reared its ugly head. And they're saying that there's been refusal to declare a state of emergency in hardest hit regions like the Ashanti region and the Eastern region, despite labeling Galamsey a national emergency. Now, their third accusation has to do with law enforcement bias, and for them, there's perceived inaction against politically connected Galamsey kingpins. Fourthly, they're talking about policy vacuums, where they say that there's absence of coherent long-term anti-Galamsey strategies. And finally, their final accusation has to do with political complicity, where they say that there's no dismissal of local officials allegedly shielding illegal miners. And so these are the 5 critical points that UTAG is complaining about and accusing the government of in this particular period.
Thank you very much, Judith Brown, for bringing us those details. And of course, would try and get in touch with the association to bring us a bit more. But earlier, the spokesperson for the government, for the President and Government's Communications Minister, Felix Kwakye-Ofosu, spoke on a key point regarding the fight of the government against illegal mining. Listen.
Significant work has gone in. And indeed, I can tell you for free that between the time we came to power and now, 518 people have been arrested for engaging in Galamsey. 518. In fact, 246 excavators have been seized. Some of them have been burnt. There are some who have expressed misgivings about that approach. Yeah. If you are seen involved in it, you will be arrested and prosecuted. So your level or the lack of it won't matter. If there's evidence that you are a kingpin, you don't go to the ground to mine yourself, but you are the one basically sponsoring the activity. We will come for you as well.
You heard that Felix Kwakye-Ofosu, who speaks for the government. Some 12 minutes past the hour of 12. When we come back, we'll bring you the latest from the Zwarugu Senior High School in Bolga, which has been shut down over violent clashes over the weekend.
Hello, Ghana. It's a new year and Bills Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596 920 833 or 0302 200 390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
Freezer, get the abba. Adama for the abba, a freezer. Adama, a crafty mensia. Adama, Metamosua, my sorry. Canino, Obo Moasia. I do for the Nobium Unumi and San last night. I tell what we did up here. Adama for you from what we say. Yet the Adruba Cope, a ship will be a high technology. I could for freezer. When Kwan, and once open your 15 letters. No fugum, what ya no fugum. What the bus here, for your being what you equity self, over Timono. Then we sure say, mention task here. Then what's enough for now? Freezer, power up a day. Freezer,
Basia, a bastion do so among Amoniaji.
Me what's it car? Me, but you may not do some doom. Adama, with that Adama, no, Adama, you can't resist.
Ubenya Adama West Africa for a dream or baby bear a tongue cry on you. I say Kayona Kenkai in Choya a dream.
And you're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Thank you very much for staying. Now, the Zwarungu Senior High School in the Bolgatanga East District of the Upper East Region has been closed down following violent clashes between rival student groups on Sunday, the 20th of July. The Upper East Regional Minister and Chairman of the Regional Security Council, Donatos Akamugri Atanga, ordered the immediate closure of the school to prevent a deterioration of the situation. The violent clash, reportedly sparked by the alleged theft of a mobile phone, escalated into a large-scale brawl that resulted in significant destruction of school property, including the burning of some school structures. Security sources have confirmed to 3FM that 4 students have been arrested in connection with the unrest. One of the suspects managed to escape custody while being transported to the police station. Castro Sanyala is our Upper East Regional correspondent. He joins us live on the line. Castro, do we know what caused the violence in the school aside from the theft of that mobile phone?
Not at all. No additional information has been brought to our attention, even though we understand that the police and other security agencies continue with investigations into the unfortunate violent incident that has rocked the school in recent times. We understand that the phone theft is primarily the cause of all of this. We are also getting leads that there may be other factors, but for now the police say that it is the phone theft issue, the stealing of a phone, that is what has resulted in the violent clashes that has led to the destruction of some school property, including burning them down in protest of, whatever happened there.
How massive is the destruction of properties on campus?
Beatrice, I continue to get in touch with security agencies who have been providing me information, and from what they tell me, the students the marauding students destroyed, facilities on campus, especially the common shelves and stalls in the common market where students go to eat, and also portions of structures that are dotted across the within the campus. We understand that there has not been any major attack or destruction to school property as in walled properties, but we understand that makeshift structures that are built with roofing sheets and woods were those that the students attacked and burned down. We also understand that some few students have been injured. Minor injuries we can report, but no serious injuries have been recorded so far. As we speak now, we understand that the police and the military is there, even though the students have been asked to go home. And some of those who come from conflict zones like Boko, Binduri, and other areas have been escorted to their houses, to their homes, where they will be left to go home. And the rest who are within town have also been asked to go, including the final year students who are preparing to sit for their examination.
We understand that one of the students who were picked up by the police escaped with a magazine. What have you gathered on this?
Yes. So the police have been very tight-lipped on that issue, but sources in there tell me that yes, they made an arrest of 5 students who have connections to the unrest. And so when they were transporting them to the regional police quarters for questioning as part of interrogations or investigations, one of them managed to escape custody. And as he was leaving, we understand that he went with a rifle's magazine. And a magazine is that thing that they stuff the bullets inside before they push it into the belly of the rifle to fire. He allegedly ran with a magazine of that rifle. And as we speak now, police are hot and they are on the lookout for him. We understand that an operation has been launched because, according to my police sources, it is a very big issue for them that a student in a secondary school is able to lay hands on such a very important ammunition. Also, the understanding is that since he is able to pick the magazine, it means that he's a hardened guy and he needs to be fished out as quickly as possible. So I can report that the police are hot and they're looking for him every way they can, whichever means they can use. I understand that they are contacting friends and people who they know have links to him to see where they can locate him, including identifying where he comes from and if they can trace him back to his family house.
Indeed. And aside from my last question to you, aside from the minister, the regional minister and head of the Region Security Council closing down the school, have we heard any word from him?
Not at all. Apart from, like you said, apart from him visiting the school, he has visited the school with other members of the RESEC, where they interacted with management of the school and then spoke to some students, and also ensured that the security agencies, including the military and the police, escorted those students who would be going back to conflict-prone areas like I stated, Boko and Binduri and other areas. They were there. He was there to ensure that all of that was taken care of before he left. But as to whether, an official statement from the RESEC, we keep our fingers crossed to see what happens in the coming days. But for now, there hasn't been any official communication.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Castro Sanyala. He is our Upper East Regional correspondent. From there, we go to the Ashanti region because more than a year after the Kwandaso onion market was demolished to make way for redevelopment, the site remains vacant, and now illegal structures are starting to crop up again. Some aggrieved traders appear to be returning, defying regulations by rebuilding on the land. Concerned residents are warning of a potential confrontation with these illegal occupants if the local assembly fails to take action. Ibrahim Abubakar has been tracking developments and joins us live on the phone with some update. Ibrahim, if you can tell us why the redevelopment of the Kwandaso onion market has stalled for a year now.
Well, Beatrice, the assembly is saying because of setback like this, anytime they attempt to come to site and redevelop the area, they find some of these traders trying to return, and in fact, some have even sent the matter to court saying they own the land, they are the rightful owners of the land. So that's how come it has been dragging back and forth. It was until recent that they had a clear pathway that they can go ahead and redevelop, only for the traders to come back on site. That was on Friday, to start erecting this structure. In fact, they said the plan for this land is for a World Bank bus rapid terminal, and other areas have benefited from similar one. So now, as I speak to you, we've come to the site, and it's even turning chaotic because the traders are saying they will not allow the assembly members to come near the erection site. They are saying that they were promised by the NDC government that when they vote for them, they will allow them to come to site. That's how come they are coming. So for now, as we speak, the assemblies are also taking the matter to court, hoping that an injunction will be giving them so that they prevent anyone from rebuilding.
Quite an interesting development happening there, but even as there seems to be that slight confrontation, as it were, between these traders and the development agencies, as it again, are there any security agencies assisting these individuals?
Well, no, for now, it's only the task force of the assembly. In fact, that has been one of the major concerns of the assembly. In fact, the MC was lamenting that they have reported the matter to the police. They've asked the police to make sure they secure the place by way of guarding it, but the police is not heeding to the advice. So he believes that the police doesn't want to work with them, so he's taking the matter up to report to the regional minister so that if they will be granted some military intervention, then they will be allowed to be deployed here to secure the place. Because as I speak to you, even as we are here, the traders keep rebuilding. A lot of cars are coming with wood for the rebuilding effort, and they are saying that they are not moving an inch because they were promised that they will be giving the place back to do their trading activities.
Aside from the traders whose faces obviously we see or you can see, do you know who is behind those illegal structures?
Well, I currently can see some constituency executives of the National Democratic Congress. In fact, is a constituency chairman of NDC for Kwandaso who is even championing this. When we got here, he was the one who came and told us that whether we form or not, whether the military come here or not, he will allow the people to rebuild because they were asked to come here to campaign, and they came to campaign. They got the vote here. So there is no way he is going to renege on his promise to the traders. So as we speak, he is the one leading, and he said he will allow them to rebuild.
My final question to you. I know you said that assembly authorities seem to be doing this alone. They are not getting any support from the police. But have you heard from the police? Are they not equally concerned that there could be a confrontation that could, degenerate into something else?
Well, officially, the police has not spoken to us. We are making that effort to also get their side because we are also confused as to how an MC who is the head of music for the area is unable to get the police to come here. So we will try and get their side, maybe hopefully by evening for our listeners.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Ibrahim Abubakar. He's Ashanti regional correspondent. Now, the Bank of Ghana has assured the business community, particularly members of the Ghana Union of Traders Associations, GUTA, that there is no shortage of foreign exchange in the system. This is despite recent concerns raised by traders. This assurance follows a meeting between the central bank and GUTA leadership after widespread complaints from traders about difficulties accessing forex from commercial banks. GUTA President Dr. Joseph Obeng, in a statement, urged members of the business community to remain calm as the Bank of Ghana works to resolve the issue. He further encouraged traders to report any continued difficulties in accessing forex to help the association monitor the situation and follow up accordingly. GUTA stated that the Bank of Ghana assured them that there is sufficient foreign exchange available and that the situation does not warrant panic. According to the statement, the central bank also pledged to engage with commercial banks to understand the root cause of the reported challenges and to take appropriate steps to address them. Let's bring you some more here on the Midday News. And in recent months, Ghana has been gripped by a series of alarming incidents where individuals have gone missing only to be found dead under violent circumstances. From a Ghana Immigration Service officer lured to his death over a debt dispute, to taxi drivers kidnapped and murdered, and a popular TikTok performer found lifeless in the bush, these cases have sparked widespread concern and raised questions about public safety and community trust. We take you through the details of these tragic incidents that occurred between June and July of this year 2025. Now, we start with between June and July 2025. We start with Stephen King Amwa, Ghana Immigration Service officer who was killed and burned over 200,000 Ghana cedi debt. Suspect, we understand, has been arrested. Also, taxi driver in Ashaiman kidnapped for 60,000 ransom and killed after family couldn't pay. Also, Patrick in Ningo Prampram, a taxi driver, murdered and car stolen. We understand suspect arrested. Young taxi driver from a CCTV footage case, body dumped, CCTV footage under review to identify perpetrators, and Emmanuel Ejebafo, Atom de Moral Spirit TikTok performer, body found in bush near Jackie Pramso after going missing for days, and cause of death under investigation. Well, for criminologist Dr. Jones Opokwawari, the recent surge speaks to the weakness of our justice systems. He, however, rules out ritual murders, and he's calling on individuals to report missing cases early enough to help with early tracing.
Now, if you look at the patterns of the murders as we find them, one, I'm ruling out ritual murders because, as you even indicated, none of these bodies, as they've been discovered, had any parts, dismembered, right? So typically, if you look at how ritual murders are carried out, you normally will find some part of the body missing. But if you have consistent pattern of people just being killed on the streets or maybe placed in some places, like we are seeing now, then it tells me that this is a serial pattern of some people who wants to, as it were, exert maybe reprisal on some people they might have some kind of, issue with or some kind of dealing with. So it becomes very difficult for the police to, as it were, police those kind of crimes, because people will normally use subterfuge, they will use subtle deception and all that to get people into their location and the area where they think there is no guardianship, and then exert that kind of brutality on them. It is very important that the police deploy, their resources much earlier. Much also I expect also family members, we have to make the reports earlier. It actually speaks to the weakness of our judicial system. It speaks to the weakness of probably our criminal justice system. It even speaks to the weakness of our security system. And I'm thinking that whilst I don't want to indict the police for now, I think that we should strengthen our investigation system and send a clear signal to Ghanaians.
And you heard the criminologist, Dr. James Opokowari. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us on the Midday News today on 3FM 92.7. Log on to shrenews.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
3FM 92.7. Urban Lifestyle Radio Station.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Ausa. Coming up this afternoon, Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atu set to present 2025 mid-year budget review to Parliament on July 24, expected to address fiscal performance, revenue outlook and IMF program progress. Meanwhile, Peasant Farmers Association demands 10% of increased expenditure for agriculture ahead of mid-year budget presentation. We'll hear from Executive Director Bismarck Usunote.
We expect that if the government is making a case for an increase in expenditure, at least 10% of it should go to the agriculture sector.
And CD appreciation triggers dip in investment value of Bank of Ghana gold coins despite slight price adjustments. These stories and others lined up for you. Please stay. Thanks for your company. Now to the very first story. Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atu will on Thursday, July 24, 2025, present the highly anticipated mid-year budget review to Parliament. The presentation, a constitutional and legal requirement under Ghana's Public Financial Management Act, will offer a comprehensive update on the country's fiscal performance over the first half of the year and provide an economic outlook for the remainder of the 2025. With signs of economic recovery gaining momentum, attention will focus on the government's revenue performance, debt servicing strategies, and updates on Ghana's IMF program. The following 3 Business News Desk report has details. This year's review comes on the back of improved macroeconomic indicators. According to recent data from the Bank of Ghana, Ghana's economy grew by 5.3% in the first quarter of 2025. With strong performance in the agriculture and services sectors. Non-oil GDP rose by 6.8%, and the Composite Index of Economic Activity recorded a 4.4% annual increase in May. Private sector credit growth has also seen notable improvement, rising to nearly 20% in April. The country's external position remains strong, with a trade surplus of $5.6 billion and a current account surplus of $3.4 billion. Dr. Atu is expected to touch on government's revenue, spending performance, and the path toward achieving end-year targets. He will also provide updates on structural reforms and progress under the IMF-supported program. There is also keen public interest in whether the finance minister will announce any new policy adjustments or fiscal measures, particularly in light of persistent inflation pressures and concerns over the rising cost of living. The update is expected to clarify the government's direction on economic relief and support for growth sectors in the coming months. And that was the 3 Business News Desk report on Finance Minister set to present 2025 mid-year budget review to Parliament on Thursday, July 24. Stay with us for comprehensive coverage. Meanwhile, the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana is calling for 10% of any project increase in government spending to be allocated to the agricultural sector. The association had earlier raised concerns over what it described as inadequate budgetary support for the sector in the original fiscal plan. Speaking to 3 Business on the sidelines of a CSO forum on mid-year budget expectations, Executive Director Bismarck Teteusu-Norte also urged government to review taxes on agricultural inputs to ease the burden on farmers.
We expect that if the government is making a case for an increase in expenditure, at least 10% of it should go to the agricultural sector based on the projection that we have for the sector. We know the rollout of the Feed Ghana has started. The Peasant Farmers have taken delivery of some inputs from the ministry, which we are very grateful. We actually think that we could have gotten more if they had enough allocation. We also have witnessed some drop in prices of inputs like seed and fertilizer, around 10 to 15%. But I still think that the price can still go a bit lower. And we believe that what is holding up the prices is the taxes on them. As part of the 120-day social contract, the government promised that they are going to review the Tax Exemptions Act to take off taxes on agricultural input and equipment. That was not done in the main budget. So we are hoping that with this mid-year budget, government should quickly begin legislation to review the Exemptions Act and ensure that whatever agricultural imports we're having, that's the input and equipment, we don't have taxes on them.
And that was Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Bismarck Teteusu-Norte. This is still Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. I'll start to some other stories. The Bank of Ghana has moved to allay fears among importers and the trading community over the availability of foreign exchange in the country. This follows mounting concerns raised by members of the Ghana Union of Traders Associations, GUTA, about limited access to forex from commercial banks, a situation they say is affecting their operations. There is more in the following 3 Business News Desk report. The Bank of Ghana is reassuring the business community that there is no shortage of foreign exchange in the country, despite complaints from traders about difficulties in accessing forex from commercial banks. This follows a meeting between the central bank and the leadership of the Ghana Union of Traders Associations, GUTA, aimed at calming nerves and restoring confidence among importers. In a statement after the meeting, GUTA indicated that the Bank of Ghana had firmly assured them of adequate forex liquidity within the banking system and urged businesses not to panic. GUTA President Joseph Obin is calling on traders to remain calm as the central bank works to resolve the situation. He also encouraged members to report any persistent challenges. Meanwhile, the central bank says it is engaging directly with commercial banks to identify the root causes of the reported constraints and to ensure timely interventions. The development comes at a time of currency volatility and global supply chain pressures, which has worsened the cost of doing business for many importers. Analysts warn that delays in accessing forex could impact consumer prices and business confidence if not swiftly addressed. Now, the investment value of the Bank of Ghana's gold coins continues to decline on the Ghana cedi gains strength against the US dollar. The central bank introduced the gold coins as part of efforts to curb dollar hoarding and mop up excess liquidity in a bid to stabilize the cedi. As of Monday, July 21, 2025, the Bank of Ghana announced new prices for the coins, reflecting marginal increases in cedi terms, but an overall dip in their dollar equivalent investment value. The quarter-ounce coin is now priced at 9,685 cedis, up slightly from 9,585 cedis last Friday. The half-ounce coin is going for 18,653 cedis, while the full 1-ounce coin now sells at 36,631 cedis. Before we go, government's latest treasury bill auction witnessed an overwhelming surge in investor demand, with bids totaling $20.9 billion, nearly 4 times the government's target of 5.4 billion cedis. Despite a general decline in interest rates, Despite a general decline in interest rates across all tenors, this heightened appetite underscores a significant shift in investor sentiment within the Ghanaian financial market. And that will be all for Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. Thanks for your company.